So yes, you're losing water weight, but you're also losing your sanity. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or to it if this is the first time you are seeing my face. Thank you for clicking on it. My name is JC and I like to do a lot of mental health things on this channel, but lately the platform has kind of been penalizing me for it. It's been demonetizing my videos and people are getting sensitive content warnings before even watching the videos. So I've been a little discouraged and a little sad. In my last video, I mentioned to you guys that I was finally ready to share my third diagnosis. So for anybody new here, sometime last year, I spent about 10 weeks in a mental health facility and I got 5 life-changing diagnoses along my healing journey. And I was ready to share my third one, which is probably my craziest one. But then with YouTube kind of like beating me down a little bit, I just wasn't in the right headspace for it this week. So I'm just gonna change gears a little bit and hold off on that one. And I definitely wanna continue this type of content. I feel like it's super important. I feel like it's super interesting, but I also love hearing from you guys in the comments. So if you want to continue to make me feel safe in sharing, the best way to do that is by subscribing. So make sure to hit subscribe. I've gotten so many messages that people didn't realize they weren't subscribed, but getting those numbers up really helps me out and helps YouTube show that people are interested in this type of content. I'm on the path to 50K subscribers. So if you haven't hit that little red button for subscribe, make sure to hit that now. But in the meantime, we're gonna do a video I've always wanted to do. This has been on my list for forever. And since YouTube's already mad at me, I figured we'll test the limits of this algorithm and what I'm allowed to talk about. This video is going to be ranking the top 10 dumbest things I've done to lose weight. Now, if you guys have watched Shatterbrains or if you've watched me over the years, you've known that I've struggled with my body image for forever, basically. But what's interesting is that I have such a different perspective of it now in hindsight, knowing that I have OSDD and these multiple parts where each part of myself has struggled with it in different unique ways. So we're going to laugh and scoff at some of the dumbest things that I've done, and there will be a little analysis at the end from that in hindsight perspective, knowing what I know now about my mental health journey. Huge disclaimer. Don't do anything in the video. This is not advice. This is not at all health tips or suggestions in any ways. These things that I'm about to talk about destroyed not only my body image, but also my body from the inside, my internal organs, my relationship with food. I cannot stress enough, this is not advice. Please do not take this as any type of suggestions. These are all stupid and dumb, and if you do them, you are putting yourself on a very dangerous path, so don't do it. And as a little trigger warning, this video might discuss some type of disordered eating and a lot of content within the food realm. So if you are at all sensitive to that, don't watch this video because we're gonna get into some interesting topics, and we're going to get into the end again, that analysis, kind of forgiving and understanding my parts and why they may have felt this way during some of them. But let's just hop right into this list, ranking the top 10 stupidest, dumbest, most wasteful, idiotic things I've done to lose weight. So first, let me give you a little background on why I want to make this video now. Last year, when I went into my treatment program and I'm doing all of those psych evaluations and talking to psychologists, disordered eating came up a lot, and they were saying, hey, we want to put you in this ED group. Hey, we really want to start unraveling this. And I was telling them, like, first of all, I don't have that. That's not me at all. Like, okay, sometimes I do. Sometimes I have those thoughts, but other times I think I'm totally great. I don't know what that's about, but trust me, it's not overcoming my life right now. But also, that's not what I'm here for. When I went into my program, I was spiraling mentally for lots of different reasons. And I was like, please, I can't be worried about my body image right now. That is not what's going to keep me alive. We can worry about that later. So now as I'm further along in my healing journey, I now understand, oh, it's because I have these parts, and these parts come and go in terms of their habits and their behaviors and their thoughts towards my body image. However, the one thing that's common among every single one of my parts is that none of my parts have ever tried to be healthy. They've never tried to feel good in their body and make sure that their body is functioning properly. It has always been about losing weight, being smaller, being skinnier, and being more attractive. And to be honest, I am still healing in real time. I am still going to therapy for so many different things. I haven't even really gotten to unravel this mindset and these deep inherent body image issues. But I wanted to bring it to your attention because I'm healing in real time right now, but I'm getting getting to the point where, okay, at least I can start to reflect on all of my parts and have some forgiveness for why they did some of these crazy things. So with that perspective in mind, the first, or I should say, the number 10 dumbest thing I ever did to lose weight was actually Weight Watchers. Now hear me out. Now this is number 10 probably because it is the best weight loss method that I had ever done. And I think it was the most sustainable, it was the most reasonable for my brain, and it was actually a decently healthy process for losing weight, learning more about food and calories, that sort of stuff. The reason this is on my list in general is because I did Weight Watchers when I was 12 years old. That is pretty early to start having those mindset about your own body. I very vividly remember, my mom was on it and she came home with all of the books and the binders, and she had this cool little, this points counter where it's so funny how much technology has come along, because it was literally like a paper thing that you slide up and down and go, oh, yes, calories, yes. This one is 3 points. And at 12 years old, I saw that and I was like, oh, she already paid for the subscription to Weight Watchers. I basically have a free subscription to Weight Watchers. Let's do it. And so at 12 years old, I was counting my points. I was going to the grocery store and I would buy lean cuisines where they had the points already on the boxes. I started going to school and at lunchtime being like, your apple, that's 1 point. Your sandwich, let me count that up with the meat, with the bread, the mayo. You're probably looking at about like, 13 points there, and you don't have any more rollover points left, so be careful there. That was me as a 12-year-old. That is way too young to start worrying about those kind of things and having it so deeply ingrained in your mind. However, I will say I was pretty successful on Weight Watchers. I don't think I could ever do any type of diets again, let's be clear about that. But that one was probably the most sustainable one and the most healthy habit one, I guess. But not when you are a preteen in middle school trying to get all the boys to like you by losing weight. So not great, not great. The number 9 dumbest thing I did to lose weight was I got hardcore addicted to MyFitnessPal. Raise your hand if you can relate. So this was high school JC, and MyFitnessPal is one of those calorie counting apps where you scan the barcode of whatever you're eating and it automatically fills out your macros, all of the calories that you're eating. It takes into account your height and your body weight and how many calories you're supposed to be eating a day, puts you into a deficit, and tells you when you go over everything. So at first you're like, yeah, that is the basis of weight loss. Calories in, calories out, right? Of course I need to track those. So while it started with good intentions, it ends with you panicking over the calories in a banana and makes you hate yourself for eating fruit and vegetables. So yeah, kind of a slippery slope there. And similarly to Weight Watchers, I was one of those people that I just knew how many calories were in everything. I just started memorizing it to the point I didn't even need the app, and I would just be telling people oh, your eggs in the morning, yeah, it's about 200 calories-ish or so, and I was like a computer spewing it out. But you just become so hyper-fixated on all of the calories and everything that of course that's gonna lead to disordered eating. Of course that's gonna lead you to not even eating because you're worried about your app yelling at you for going over the calories for the day. And I actually reposted it on my TikTok. I don't think I've laughed harder at a TikTok, so I was like, haha, it's so me.
My boyfriend asked me if I had ever heard of the app called MyFitnessPal, and I said, pal, I'm so fucking familiar with that app that I'm not allowed to use it anymore. What do you need help with though? Got any questions?
So yeah, those apps can be super helpful, but not for a mind like mine that tries to grip onto any sense of control in my weight loss. And getting addicted to an app like that was really dumb and irresponsible, and I hope to never download an app like that ever again. The number 8 dumbest thing I ever did to lose weight was I went on liquid diets. So this is another one from high school JC where I was on SlimFast. Again, raise your hand if you ever did SlimFast. I don't know why that was a thing. It was basically like adult baby food in the form of milkshakes, and I don't even remember how I was buying it, but I was buying the SlimFast programs, and it's basically just like a tub of Nesquik chocolate powder, and your milkshakes, whatever they are, that's your meal for the day. And it's supposed to give you all the protein and all of the carbs and everything that you need. And then you're supposed to supplement it with regular meals throughout the day. But I was like, oh, I could be smart and double up on more liquids in my diet. So on top of my SlimFast milkshakes in the morning, I was then only eating soup. Which was, it wasn't dangerous, but it was miserable and unsustainable because I would go and I would buy the cans that again had like the Weight Watchers points. That's also another thing with the Weight Watchers is that sticks with you for life. So when I go into the grocery store and I see how they have Weight Watchers points on things, I go, oh, this isn't that bad for you. And I throw it in the cart and I eat it. And so in high school, I remember there was a whole year where I was eating, it was like this gross, it was Progresso, I think, and it was like this barley flavor because it was 0 points. And it was either 0 or 1 points. But again, I see that number, even though I'm far removed from Weight Watchers, and I go, this is basically free calories. This is basically nothing. I can eat this, get so full, and the weight is just gonna fall right off of me because there's nothing even in this. And I don't think I had solid foods for several months, which is so sad. Again, I'll go over the analysis in the end of just how sad I feel for those parts that they felt that that was necessary, because this high school JC was at the peak of her sports. She was in volleyball, she was in soccer, she was doing basketball. I'm not getting energy from barley soup and SlimFast milkshakes, okay? I don't know how I was surviving out there on the field. But again, to me, it was like, I have to be skinny, I have to match the women in my class and my peers and be attractive to the boys, and that equates to losing weight. So it's sad to say, but I drank liquids and hoped for the best. Oh, the number 7 thing I did to lose weight was going to the Camp Transformation Center. Where do I begin? I'm actually not even gonna begin. I did a whole video on this. If you wanna see all of the details, I'll leave it linked below. Basically, it was a boot camp where I paid $500 and it was a 5-week program where if I lost 25 pounds in those 5 weeks, I would get my money back. And I was like, heck yeah, what a deal. I can do that, no problem. Big problem. One, I barely had 25 pounds to lose at this time. I probably thought like I had 50 pounds to lose, knowing how disordered my mindset was towards my own body image. Losing 25 pounds in 5 months for somebody in my frame, they told me it was gonna be difficult, and I said, you don't know how competitive I am. I got this. Not only that, but part of the program is they give you a meal plan, and they called it KISS, and it stood for, what was it? Keep it simple, stupid. Already not great if your boot camp coach is calling you stupid to your face. But this meal plan was just keep it simple and just eat these same things. And the same things were I ate tilapia and asparagus for dinner for 5 weeks in a row. I don't think I had anything else except tilapia and asparagus. And to this day, I have never had tilapia again because I got my lifetime fill of that dang, nasty, flavorless fish. But suffice to say, I put myself through it in those 5 weeks because I started realizing, I gotta actually like work pretty hard to lose these 25 pounds. And it was so dangerous, the things that I was doing to my body in order to get my money back, in order to lose the weight. And the whole experience was deeply traumatizing. So I will leave that video linked below if you wanna check out the full story, because it's crazy what ends up happening. I got into a fight with them. They tried to not give me my money back. Lots of things going on there. So go and check out that video. But the number 6 dumbest thing I did to lose weight is directly tied to that one. And that is that I started taking water pills and sitting in a sauna every single day. So while doing the camp, I realized, I'm not losing weight fast enough. I need to speed run some of my weight loss. So I started taking these water pills where essentially you take it and it's supposed to like remove all the retained water in your body. But then again, because I'm so much smarter than everybody else, I said, let's double up on these results and go and sit in a hot sauna and sweat it out and expedite the process. So yes, you're losing water weight, but you're also losing your sanity. But the other dumb thing that I just didn't realize with so many of these parts is that all of the methods that I was doing were all very temporary. It was all for water weight. I wasn't losing any type of fat. I was seeing numbers go down on the scale, but then I would get so mad at myself. I would shame myself so much when 2 days later that weight would come back and I would go, what am I doing wrong? I tried everything. And then I would go beat myself up at the gym, sit in the sauna for 15 extra minutes and punish myself for it. When really, all I was doing was temporary methods. It was all just dehydration. It was all delusional. And while I was losing weight, I was also just losing the will to live because none of that even made any sense. But again, my brain would see numbers go down on the scale and I would be like, hallelujah, I am doing it. Don't do this, you guys. It is so bad for you. I don't know how I didn't pass out after sitting in sauna for days on end. Do not do this. This was definitely one of the dumbest things I've ever done. But now we're hopping into the top 5 things I've done to lose weight. But before we hop into it, everybody stop what you're doing right now and go and make sure that you are subscribed. Again, I've had so many people say, I didn't even realize I wasn't subscribed to you. Like, you pop up on my homepage because I watch you all the time, but I never actually hit that subscribe button. Don't worry, I won't be offended. Just hit that button now. Help me get to 50K and make sure that you're just getting all the alerts for all of these videos. Because again, I'm just trying to get back into good standing with YouTube. I probably won't with this video, but hey, anything helps. But the number 5 dumbest thing I ever did to lose weight was I went to a weight loss clinic and I got supplements injected into my hiney. So I went to this clinic and it seemed very medical. You know, they had nurses and scrubs and stethoscopes. Golly, that word took a long time to find my brain. And again, I was just looking for a cheap and dirty and easy way to lose weight. Ew, bug. At this point, this was college JC who started getting these injections because she was in school. She didn't really want to work out. She didn't really have the motivation or the energy, but streamlining the process and getting these injections seemed to work. Now, I'm pretty sure the injections were B12 shots, so this was pre-Ozempic, pre-Manjaro. This was just B12 shots. But I very specifically remember they would inject it into my cheek, and every now and then I would get this big fat bruise because like it just didn't take well. And I would always question like, are these legit nurses? Is this safe? Probably not, but I was still gonna do it if it promised that I was gonna lose some lbs on the scale. But the other reason this was so dumb is it was part of this program where I had to take these 5 pills, and it's so dumb because I don't even remember what the 5 pills were. I just remember that the pink one was some sort of fat burner. It was some type of, not fen-phen, but maybe like fen-phen grandchild type of thing. And there was supposed to be one in there that was like an appetite suppressant. There was a third one that, I don't know, just gave you energy, maybe caffeine. And it was literally one of those things where they were like, hey, these don't work, don't do these, like this is kind of crazy. And I was like, I'm different. It's gonna work for me. It actually did work for me, but it's because what happens in my brain when I start doing these programs is I'm so cheap and I care so much about money that I go, well, I'm paying a lot of money for these injections and these pills, so I guess I should like start eating less and maybe working out more. And so naturally, I start eating less and I start working out more, and that's what's getting me to lose weight. Hello, calories in, calories out, eating better, working out more. The pills, the injections had nothing to do with it other than placebo effect. And that was dumb because that again just contributed to my mindset of, oh, I need those supplements to lose weight. Otherwise, there's no point in actually trying. Oh, I'm sweating so much. It's so hot in LA. Please ignore my glistening forehead. But while we're on the topic, it's so interesting saying that this is a dumb thing that I did with Ozempic being so in the zeitgeist of the world right now in the weight loss. My opinions on Ozempic and Mounjaro are you do you. I see it being so helpful for some people. I also get the argument that like, hey, people with diabetes kind of need that medication and you're causing a shortage. Maybe don't do that for vanity reasons. But I say like it's helping people in so many different ways that if there's enough of it to go around, absolutely do it. However, what I did, it was not Ozempic. It was literally just some skeevy weight loss clinic that was giving me fat burning pills, probably from the black market in China. And that is what is the dumb thing on this list. The number 4 dumbest thing I did in the name of being skinnier was I bought this like fat burning gel online, and I would coat my belly in this gel. I would saran wrap my stomach, then take an ace bandage and tightly wound it around my tummy like a corset. And then I would go to sleep and I would sweat out all of the toxins, all of the calories, all of my water weight, and I would wake up the skinniest queen I had ever seen in the mirror. This is basically DIY medieval torture. I feel so bad for this part. So this again was high school JC, and she really faced the brunt of it with my body image issues. She tried everything to be as skinny as her classmates. And sadly, this is something that she resorted to, was literally putting herself into plastic wrap, hoping that she would wake up thinner. Now, again, same thing, that same pattern where I would see weight being lost on the scale, and I would think success. And then I would shame myself and punish myself when a few days later, of course, that water weight comes back. Yet I continued to saran wrap my body, hoping that it would burn the fat from the inside without any effort from me, and I would be so skinny. Again, don't do this. This didn't work. This was temporary. This was delusional, but I have so much compassion for that part that was just so desperate to be thin that she would have resorted to this. But the top 3 ones are easily the most damaging things that I did. So again, don't do these. Because the third dumbest thing that I ever did was I started taking laxatives. Taking laxatives as a form of weight loss is dangerous. It is damaging. Sadly, it is really common, but it is a literal gut punch. This is one of those like, hey, what are some ways to lose weight, but I don't care if I die in the process? Because this is dangerous, you guys. And don't want to get into a little too much TMI. How redundant, my goodness. But during this process, this must have been college, JC, because I remember I was working at the Cheesecake Factory. Suffice to say, there were a few close calls in even making it to the restroom, because when you take those things are gonna flow right through you and you don't get to decide where you are when it happens. Now, my mindset behind this was, again, just cleansing my system, getting rid of everything in my colon, and then that means I'm gonna be skinnier. At no point in any of these points that I'm mentioning was I doing it in a healthy way where I'm just exercising and drinking water and eating healthy and doing it in a way that is scientifically proven and considered healthy by everybody in the world. No, I had to find that shortcut. I had to find that easy means of losing weight, and sadly, laxatives were my solution during this time. Don't do that. I can't tell you how dangerous that is. But the number 2 dumbest thing I did to lose weight is the stupidest, dumbest thing ever, and easily the most damaging on my whole body. And I'm sorry to my family when you hear this. I smoked cigarettes for a little bit. I knew that people in the movie industry, they smoke cigarettes and drink coffee in order to lose weight for a movie role. And I said, well, my life's a movie role, baby. Time to commit to the bit. This was peak self-sabotage, disguised as an appetite suppressant. And I didn't even like cigarettes. I have had numerous family members die from complications of cigarettes, lung cancer, emphysema, everything. And I still was willing to take the risk of that if it means I was skinnier. I cannot tell you the depths of my body image if that was the length I was willing to go to in order to have a smaller tummy and a few less pounds on the scale. Now, I didn't do this for long simply because I didn't like it. I didn't like it. You know, I was just like, this isn't fun for me. And like, thankfully I didn't get addicted, because holy moly, like what a self-sabotaging thing to do. Oh God, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. So thank you, body and brain, for not getting addicted to it, because that could have ruined me for life. But yes, there was a point, and this was kind of more recent. This was actually LAJC, where she had tried her first cigarette, and after trying that first one, then it became, well, I already tried it, so might as well keep it going for a little bit. And so for several weeks, and maybe even into the months, I literally tried to only smoke a cigarette when I was hungry and drink a cup of coffee when I was hungry. And I was literally not eating, and that would be my food. I didn't last long because my body was shutting down and I was crumbling, but this was also at the height of when I was the most depressed. This was at the height of when I was mentally spiraling, and it was a form of self-punishment and, in a way, sadomasochism, where I knew it was hurting my body, but I didn't care anymore. So again, a lot of compassion for that part, but don't do this, you guys. You're going to ruin your lives. You're going to ruin your lungs. You're going to ruin your body, all for the sake of being skinny when it doesn't even work that way. Don't do that. Don't do what I do. But the last and dumbest thing that I ever did to lose weight might be a little controversial, but you guys are gonna hear me out. It was keto. Now, you might be wondering, how is keto worse than cigarettes? I'm going to tell you. Keto destroyed me for life. I did keto for about a year and a half, and I lost 50 pounds. I guess I should explain what keto is. Keto is the one where your macros, it's all about your macros. So your macros are protein, carbs, and fat. Keto is all about eating more fat than anything else, because then your body will go into ketosis, and then it'll start burning the fat in your body because it has so much fat that it's running off of, and then you lose a whole bunch of weight. And when I first heard that, I was like, that's silly. And then I saw things on Pinterest, this was at the height of Pinterest, where people were losing weight on keto, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. I was the skinniest I've ever been during keto. The problem is that the way I did keto was so bad for me, I don't know how my heart is still beating today. So there are two kind of ways you can do keto. The first is that, yeah, you eat high in fat, but you're eating a lot of vegetables, a lot of nutrient-dense foods, and a lot of balance in your meals. I went the way where I said, you're telling me that my diet consists of bacon fat and heavy cream and Alfredo sauce and hollandaise sauce, and I get to eat as much cheese as I want. It was literally like all of my favorite food groups. It was saying, yeah, the more you eat of those, the more weight that you lose. And I was like, hallelujah, this is the greatest thing ever. So because you have to eat more fat, you have to make super heavy, rich sauces. So you're putting heavy cream and Alfredo sauce over your eggs. I remember just eating a lot of pasta sauce and putting heavy cream into my coffee and just very rich, indulgent things. And I'm like, this is the best diet in the world because it was so delicious, and I started losing weight, sure enough. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with keto that they say. You have to stay in ketosis in order for your body to continue to burn fat in the way that it does. Because if you're not in that ketosis, then you're just eating a whole bunch of fat and gaining weight. And so I had these pee sticks, and they were little tabs, and you had to pee on a stick like a pregnancy test, and it would tell you if you are in ketosis, and it would tell you if you need more fat or less fat in your body. So every day I was peeing on these sticks, and I would go, uh-oh, it's light blue instead of dark purple. That means I'm not in ketosis. And so again, I struggle with self-punishing. What I would do to get yourself back in ketosis, I would eat a block of cream cheese with bacon bits and shredded cheddar cheese. I would swirl it up and I would eat it. Can't have chips, those are carbs. Nope, fat only. I would eat it, and that could be my only meal for the day because that was my daily calories, but it was the macros of fat that I needed. And sadly, that would get me back into ketosis because it was pure fat. And I was doing that 2 or 3 times a week. The only thing I would eat for the day was a block of cream cheese. Did I think it was unhealthy? No, because I was losing weight. I was the skinniest I've ever been, and I was feeling so confident in my body because of it. In hindsight, hey everybody, do we think that's good for you? An overwhelming no, says the YouTube comments. The hardest part about keto, and why I say it was the dumbest thing that I did, is it wrecked my relationship with food as well. Because to this day, I still struggle to get myself to eat carbs because my brain still sees that, panics, and goes, nope, that's bad for you. That's what's gonna make you gain weight. Not the cheese, not the bacon, not the hollandaise sauce, but that piece of bread. That banana has too many carbs, so you can't eat the banana, but the Alfredo pasta's okay? Hello, that's not how it should work. And to this day, I still struggle with that mindset of overcorrecting where, uh-oh, I overate yesterday. I need to punish myself for today and only eat this minimal amount of food in order to overcome it and get back on track. Keto has ruined my relationship with food. It has destroyed my mindset in healthy eating habits and consistency. And to this day, I'm still unlearning a lot of those things because sadly, I was successful on it. And that part of me that I still haven't been able to do a lot of parts work with still saw it as a success, despite how much it was probably destroying my body. My blood was made of cheese for a year and a half. Like my blood type was bacon fat during this time period. And that part would have been like, great, then we're succeeding. And they don't see how, I don't know how my heart didn't explode from all of that fat. And I have a lot of parts work to do in the sense of unlearning that still and understanding that that was so dangerous. But the long-term effects that it did to my relationship with everything, I'm still dealing with today. So clearly some very unhealthy, very dangerous and harmful and very stupid things that I did to lose weight. Now, I of course didn't mention some of the healthier things that I've done to lose weight. Last year I ran a half marathon and I was physically fit, I was eating healthy, and I was doing really well in my body image journey. There of course have been other times where I had more sustainable eating habits. But I will say every single part struggles with this. Every single part feels like they have the solution to all of my body image issues. And I haven't gotten a chance to really delve into that in therapy yet. So as I discuss how silly and dangerous and harmful and awful a lot of these methods that I used for weight loss were, I now have the perspective of, oh, those were my parts that were in pain, that were seeking some semblance of control, and were just trying to cope with trauma in the ways that they knew how and through their body. And so while I have that same opinion of, God, some of these are so stupid, I'm not calling that part stupid. But I also have yet to do the work to fully understand all of those parts because, again, all of my parts struggle with body image. And so I've yet to unravel all of this in therapy because I still have so much I'm trying to work on right now. But something interesting that I've become aware of in understanding my parts and my body image is the concept of teams. So because all of my parts struggle with this in some different way, I'm now hearing all of the chatter in my brain in regards to this, and I can hear how there are very specific teams that are fighting against each other when it comes to eating. I don't just have one inner critic that's harping on me for some of my decisions. I have whole teams around this. I have a diet enforcer part that's obsessed with tracking their calories and the routines and have so many of these different rules. There's definitely a protector part that equates losing weight with safety, but I haven't been able to figure out what that means yet. There's definitely a punisher part that punishes me if we fail and we have to pay for it. There are parts that hold more shame in the body and feel like we don't deserve to take care of our body and that things are our fault in terms of not being able to lose weight. And then there's other performance parts that thought that if we looked a certain way, then we'll be loved and we'll be safe. And so there's all these different perspectives when it comes to food. And it's so interesting how now that I can understand what's happening in my brain, I can hear the arguments. And at first it was pretty debilitating because I'd go into the kitchen and I'd go to grab a banana and I'd hear, the banana, that's too many carbs. You can't eat that. Come on, it's fruit. Fruit's good for you and we're hungry. Okay, but if you eat the banana, you can't have any sweets later because this has a lot of sugar in it. Well, what if we go for a walk and we work off the banana? It's like I can now hear that conversation. It's all happening passively. And it felt like for a little bit that I was out of control, that I'm like, oh my God, not only do I have this disorder, but it's taking over every aspect of my life and I can't even eat a meal without there being an argument of my parts. So where I am now is I am aware of it, and that is a great first step in a lot of this process. I am also in control right now where I'm able to tell my parts, hey, don't worry, I got it. Hey, I can put you to rest, like, don't worry, we'll handle this. We'll talk about some of the feelings behind it and some of the motivations and the need for safety in parts work later. But right now, just know that I got it. I can handle the decisions. Don't worry about this aspect of life. And that's been helpful in terms of quelling all of those arguments in the meantime. I'm also very patient with these parts because I understand that a lot of these issues don't stem from vanity. They stem from needing control. They stem from feeling unsafe and being a part of this fragmented system and not understanding how my own parts worked. And it's already a great first step knowing that I forgive so many of my parts for this because it wasn't that I was lazy and couldn't lose weight. It's not that I was crazy and disordered. It's that I was dissociated, I was fragmented, and there were parts inside of me that were carrying pain, and the only way they knew how to deal with it was by controlling the body. And when they're all trying to control the same body, we lose control. But I've done so much work in learning to feel safe in my body, in listening to my parts, and ensuring that all of my parts feel regulated in my nervous system, and that they can trust me. And I really wanted to make this video because I know we just laughed at like all of the crazy ways that I've tried to lose weight and all of my parts have tried to be skinnier. But I didn't make this video to continue to shame those parts. I wanted to do this to create that dialogue that I want to understand why the parts felt the need to do all of those harmful things. I'm ready to start that dialogue with my system of why they felt the need to put themselves in danger to prioritize vanity over health, and basically what their motivations were when it came to their body image. So I'm starting that process right now. Again, a lot of my journey right now is I'm healing in real time. So I don't have a lot of the answers. I don't have a solution for you guys, but I think it's the start to another chapter in this long novel of a healing journey that I'm on. And I kind of just wanted to tell you guys about it. But that's gonna be it for this video. Again, don't do any of these things. I don't wanna shame my parts, but I will shame you if you do them, because I told you they're bad and they're dangerous, so don't do them. But with that being said, let me know if you've struggled with your body image and if any of this video was at all helpful, because a lot of the work that I'm talking about in parts work, it doesn't just apply to people with OSDD or DID systems. This is called internal family systems. It is a type of therapy that can apply to everybody. So when you start to hear that chatter in your brain, start that dialogue with that part and wonder, hey, why do you feel that way? Why are you feeling unsafe in your body? And why are you trying to cope in those means that might be harmful or dangerous? We don't need to do that anymore. I can take control and see where it goes from there. But I thank you guys so much for watching this video. You can follow me on other social media platforms. I am on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I also have my talk show, which I stream on this channel every Sunday at 10 a.m. So try to catch the live stream. We are making some progress on that show, but still a lot of work to do. And I go live on here every now and then. I'm trying not to stick to a certain schedule, just seeing when I feel like it, but hop into the live and come say hi sometime. But I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodles! I feel weird. I feel like my mood changed all of a sudden, and I don't know where it's coming from. Like, I feel like I could cry right now, and I don't know why. And it's weird that it's coming at the end of the video, and I don't know where it's coming from. Mental health is tough, you guys, trying to navigate this all, but I appreciate you guys watching anyway.